Well, I mean, if you go back and look at the qualifying sheets from Charlotte and Norwalk, I mean, there's really not much there. Now, Richmond, we did qualify number one there, but we're only qualified number one there by a couple hundred. So, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot there to where there was significant for a rule change by any means. I think the rule change, I think they didn't take a good look at all the info and really put all their ducks in a row before they made that rule change, because obviously they wouldn't have, revoked it so quick. I mean, within a week it was revoked. So I don't think there's any racer out there that could push NHRA to do such a thing.
We're lucky enough to be here with Kris Thorne, NHRA three-time winner in 2022, current points leader by an absolute walk. Mate, thanks so much for your time. I know it's been hard for us to catch up, but I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You are the butt of all bad jokes, the bane of everybody's existence. You've won 3 out of 4. You've got one of those menacing ProChargers hanging off the front of your race car that are apparently got 3 or 4 numbers on the field. You've got some more up your sleeve. NHRA tried to reel you all back, and you fought that and got your 500 RPM back. Mate, what's it like to be the most hated man in NHRA Pro Mod racing at the moment?
It actually feels pretty good. We're happy. We're happy to pull into the racetrack with that big old bullseye right on our back. We're everything everybody's aiming for.
Well, that old saying of, if no one's hating on you, you're not doing it right. Well, I don't think anyone hates you individually. Everyone I've spoken to said you're a lovely man. You and I haven't had the opportunity of having sat down and have a beer together, so I don't know you that well, but everyone has told me you're a lovely guy. It's just they hate your race car and they hate the rules package that gives you this advantage.
Right. I don't think there's much of an advantage there, but the race car definitely works good and it's very consistent and makes very good laps. So anytime you have anything like that, it's really hard to beat a deadly combination.
Fair point. And your crew chief, Jamie Miller, has been copping plenty of credit for his ability behind a keyboard. You've been getting plenty of accolades as your driving prowess, both on the start line and on the racetrack. But I mean, I went and defended Joel early on in this little mini series I'm doing with, okay, so there's a ProCharger number 1, there's a nitrous car number 2, there's a Roots come screw number 3, there's a twin turbo come 4, and a screw charger 5. It's all even. What are you talking about? But let's be honest, mate. You've won 3 out of 4. You should have won 4 out of 4. How can people not be hating on that combination at the moment? Talk us through.
Well, we run really good at Gainesville. There's no doubt about that. Nobody really got any qualifying, and we did a bunch of testing the week before Gainesville, so we run really stout at Gainesville. There's no denying that. Going into Charlotte, we won first round on a whole shot deal. We didn't run very good at Charlotte. I think we qualified somewhere down the ladder a ways and just luckily fought our way through the pack. I mean, won on a whole shot in the final. We had like a staging issue. A car rolled through the beams and some cars took off and they weren't supposed to. So we got lucky there and, brought home the win. But that definitely wasn't from our performance or, the whole ProCharger deal. We just got lucky and walked on through.
Dangerous thing for me to do so early in our interview, but I'll correct you. You didn't get a whole shot win in that final. Lyle left the line before you.
Not a whole shot win in the final. We got a whole shot win in first round.
First round. I thought you said the final there again after that. Sorry, I take that back then. There you go.
I might have screwed up.
I know. I'm trying to be provocative, and maybe I got it wrong as well. So we'll go back and we'll see the videotape and see who got that one. But mate, I mean, it's I don't know whether you can talk. Can you talk to the 500 RPM ruling that they laid down on you because everyone was a little distressed about, these ProChargers? They've dominated for 18 months, 2 years. They've got 2 or 3 numbers on the field. NHRA felt the need to bring you back. I think there was a lot of controversy about whether it would work, how much carnage it would cause. But can you talk to both how that felt initially on 1.0 and what brought about the 2.0 change of getting those 500 RPMs back?
I'm not exactly sure what caused it to come back, but I'm sure glad it did. I feel like the 500 RPM deal would have crippled us, would have took us out of competition. I don't think we could have went out there and run with at 9,500. I think it would have just blown the motor up, blowed the intake off of it. As soon as you hit a RPM cutoff, I mean, the motor has nowhere to go other than it's got to, its weakest point is going to be the manifold, and it's going to go through the hood, and that's going to be the end of that. So
I think that was definitely the general uneducated, us out here, not on the inside. That was our opinion, was that, there was some discussion about you guys are going to be on the limiter for a long way at the end of the racetrack, and that's a real good way to blow shit up.
Right. Well, it wouldn't even be it was a hard cut limiter, so it would have hit 9,500, and it wouldn't have sat there on the limiter. That would have been it. As soon as it hit the limiter, it would have blown up. Okay.
All right. Well, and they can't hang any more weight on you. You guys are already sort of at the SFI limit there. Right. I don't know how much, again, you and I don't know each other that well yet, how much technical you can speak to, but can they slow the blower down? Can they change the rear gear? Can they put the smaller centrifugal on it? But you don't want any of that. You don't believe you've got an advantage.
Well, I mean, if you go back and look at the qualifying sheets from Charlotte and Norwalk, I mean, there's really not much there. Now, Richmond, we did qualify number one there, but we're only qualified number one there by a couple hundred. So, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot there where there was significant for a rule change by any means. I think the rule change, I think they didn't take a good look at all the info and really put all their ducks in a row before they made that rule change, because obviously they wouldn't have, revoked it so quick. I mean, within a week it was revoked. So I don't think there's any racer out there that could push NHRA to do such a thing.
Well, 1.0 certainly disadvantaged you, or your chosen power adder. 2.0 seemed like an incredible backflip. Not only did you all got your ProCharge boys got everything back that you'd lost, but all of a sudden, Roots blowers lost the 20 traditional located superchargers lost the 25-pound advantage they'd been given. That disappeared. So screws were no better off at all on 4.9s. On 4.8s, the Roots got 2%. So not only did it do a flip-flop backflip, all of a sudden there was a whole bunch of other associated carnage.
Right. And the Roots, I mean, I'm happy for the Roots. The Roots needed some help. The 4.8 Roots definitely needed some help, and it should have been given help 5 races ago, but obviously we don't make them rules. But I'm happy for those guys. I really hope it works out for them, and they're a little bit more competitive with their combo rather than going out and spending $200,000-$300,000 to try and make it more competitive.
And I think that's a great point. It's a lot of what most people are talking about, is that y'all just want a fair playing field to play on, but you don't want it to be changing so rapidly that it's $100,000 here or $50,000 there to adhere to these new rules.
Right. And that's definitely the case. And backing back up a little bit, you asked about a rear gear and stuff. There was talks of, doing a rear gear change. The problem is there's not any of them out there to be purchased. There's a shortage, like on 410s and 11-inch stuff. You can't, I mean, if they did a rule change like that, that would probably pull us out of the competition because there's not any to be bought.
That is a very unfortunate thing with these supply changes, interruptions that we're having. I mean, but that's across the board. Yeah. I mean, the crankshafts are hard to get a hold of. Rods are almost impossible to get a hold of. Y'all are playing an attrition game. I think towards the end of the season, we might see some of that.
Yeah, definitely. I actually called for rods today, and rods have been on order since January 18th of this year, and we've still yet to get them.
So that's the 18th of the first month, and we're at the 18th of the 7th month.
That's correct.
And no sign of the UPS man.
No sign yet.
So
I think there's going to be some issues later on this year, and with hard parts, and you also hear rumors of glue issues and a lot of issues. But we'll cross that bridge when the time comes.
Yeah. Now some of the guys I've talked to have talked about, well, we need him either to screw up multiple times, or we need him not to turn up to a race. I don't think you're going to not turn up to a race in the current position you're in.
Not as of now, I won't. No, as long as we got a fighting chance, we'll be there.
Well, you got more than a fighting chance, Kris. Come on, you're 100 points ahead. That's more than an entire race meeting of your nearest competitor, who's 100 points ahead of his. If my numbers are correct.
Correct. And I'll be honest with you, pressure doesn't bother me. So, I mean, we're ready for war.
Well, that was a great segue accidentally to my next question. That is that you certainly are in the hot seat. You have that target on your back, as you mentioned. You're out in front. You're in the, this hell of a combination that apparently has got all these advantages. But the championship is, without putting too much pressure on you, and you tell us pressure's not a problem, it's yours to lose at the moment, 4 races in.
Correct. As long as we can, run decent, go 2-3 rounds every race, and, fight our way through, which it's not going to be easy by any means. I mean, we're not even quite halfway through. I mean, a lot could change. I mean, it could be a rule change after the next race. You know.
Well, it is interesting that, everybody's sort of got you a lay down for the championship, and we're 40% of the way through the race season. We've still got 6 races to go. We've only had 4. And yes, you've been off to a flying start. Again, as I said, Jamie's done a great job behind the keyboard. You've done a great job behind the wheel. But who's to say someone else isn't going to step up and do that? So is that part of your program? Where are you guys looking for more, or are you just looking for some consistency in that parts attrition to get through to the end of the season?
We're always looking for more. It's just gotten to the point now there's not much left. I mean, they picked on us. Not that we didn't need picked on, but they picked on us for a year and a half now. So, I mean, we're pretty much at the bottom of the barrel. There's very little left that we see. Not saying we can't go test and find something here or there, but it'll be very minimal.
Mate, for the new kid on the block at NHRA Pro Mod, you've already got all the vernacular down. They picked on us for a year and a half. It's a class that, I mean, with 5 power adders, and I've interviewed one from every power adder now that we've got a hold of you. Everybody believes they're behind. Lyle believes the turbo car's at a disadvantage. Ricky obviously believes the nitrous car's at a disadvantage. Stevie believed that the Roots car was a disadvantage, so put the screw on, blew that to hell, and now the screw looks like it might be at a disadvantage. So, expand on that. They picked on you for 18 months. I mean, you've been at the front of the pack for 18 months.
Yeah. No, I mean, they just picked on the combo for that long. The whole ProCharger combo last year. There was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there was. I can't remember how many rule changes last year. It was either 5 or 6 throughout the season, and now we're on our second one, 4 races in, come this year.
Okay, one for, one against, or 1 against, 1 for. Right. They can't sling any more weight at you. The cars are already at a premium as far as SFI and weight's concerned. Do you see that, whether it be next year or whether it be throughout the year, that if they have to slow you down, they can't put any more weight on you? They've publicly said they actually want to get some weight off you. So there's going to be some mechanical rule changes in your camp in the near future, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure they will definitely do something for next year. Hopefully, being our next race is halfway through the season, they don't do anything drastic that, takes anybody out of competition, because that's not going to be good for the fans or the show or all the racers or anybody in that, feature. But we'll see what happens. I feel next year there'll probably be a smaller blower on them for next year.
Now, you in 2020 you ran a twin turbo car. That they were certainly not disadvantaged by the rules, I guess is the best way to put it, back with the turbo cars. Then you've switched in 2022 to a, again, supposed advantaged power adder. You're not fussed what power adder's out the front, and if the rules change in 2023, we might see you with a different power adder again?
It's possible. I mean, it just depends what comes about. Like in 2020, I ran that turbo car at the current rules that are still today, And, you know, the best I ever qualified with that thing was 7th.
Okay.
And I think I went to every race I raced that car, I went to the semis. I'd always seem to fall out in the semis. And like I said, we led the points all the way up to the time the car got wrecked. So it's possible. It's doable out there with a turbo car right now. You just gotta get up on the wheel and get it there.
That was something I did mention with Lyle, that the Lone Ranger turbo car. I said to him, you know, it's easy for me. I haven't got a dog in the fight, and my checkbook's not getting pounded every second week with a rule change. But this professional drag racing, isn't it all about run what you brung, hope you brung enough, do the best you can, get up on the wheel, get your car to do the best it can on any given day at any given racetrack. And as we've seen, it's anybody's race to win. I mean, you could have 4 wins out of 4. You could also only have 1 or 2 if you didn't have all that horsepower to drive past the turbo car, or as Lyle said, he actually had a mechanical issue at the end of the racetrack. He would have got you at Charlotte, and we wouldn't be having this conversation about you being the runaway leader.
That's correct. That's correct. Everybody can sit around on the sidelines and whine and cry, or they can go out there and work on their stuff and make it work, you know?
I don't know where to go with that.
It's plain and simple. I mean, I did it. I did it with the rule package that was there, and I mean, you just got to work with what you got. I mean, the nitrous cars, I mean, they outrun us at Charlotte by a country mile. You know, we just was thankful enough to get the win. You know, we just raced hard on race day, raced with what we had, and fought our way through the field.
And you've done that successfully 3 times out of 4. So it's a good, I think perhaps your race team and your ability is shining a light on something that maybe there isn't that disparity anymore. Maybe it's just you guys are doing a great job, and I don't think we get too much argument about that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you go back and look at the qualifying ladders, I mean, there's been, you know, we ran good at Richmond and we were running good at Gainesville. There's no doubt about those 2. But the other 2, we were just blessed enough that, you know, we worked our way through. And unfortunately, I turned the red light on in Richmond, but that's all me.
Now, we're headed to the northern swing, I guess, where you're all off to Topeka in a couple of weeks, and then the zoo the week after for $60,000. Stevie made the comment, you know, his crew wanted him to hold that 10th back in the screw so that he could win that extra money up there on the weekend. You're telling me that we're not going to see you pull out another couple of hundreds?
I honestly, if we had it, we'll show it, but I don't think we got it left in us, honestly. It's just, we're tapped out. And that screw, I mean, he's fast. That 10% wouldn't surprise me if he's still 2-3 numbers faster than we are.
Well, he wouldn't give anything away the other day when we interviewed him at Galot, but he was suggesting it slowed it down a couple of numbers in the half track, because obviously Galot's only an 8th mile, was as far as they could test. But I think we all know, Stevie, that everyone spoke about the screw deal when it first came out, that at 75 with that rear gear and that weight, it was never going to work. Well, it worked 5.7 flat with 257. So I don't think anyone's stupid enough to say, oh, it's not going to work with 65 until we see what happens.
Correct. Everybody said it wouldn't work, but who tested it? Who went out and ran it? Nobody did.
I think the argument there is that the smart people looked at it on paper and said it wouldn't work.
Correct.
Seems like it did in practice.
Right.
All right, mate. Thank you so much. I know it's hard being the guy that everybody's hunting for good and bad reasons at the moment, but I really appreciate you taking the time to let me throw a few darts at you and give some answers and show people that you're just a drag racer who's out here playing within the rules and wanting to win.
Correct. So we appreciate you having us. You'll see us in Topeka with a machine gun on the roof and ready to get it done.
All right, mate. We may talk to you after that race. That, you know, 2 rule changes between rounds. It's going to be very interesting to see what comes out in the wash and what everybody's got to say about that performance.
Yep, it'll be interesting.
Thanks so much for your time.
Yep, thank you.